technicality. We shouldn't have any more technicalities this afternoon.
Technical difficulties or technicality?
Let's go to Genesis 25 and 28. We're going to start back in Genesis. We were about to talk about the birthright. Okay? We're going to read Genesis, the 25th chapter, and we're going to go verses 28 to 34. Okay? Let's read.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sighed pottage. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Therefore his name was called Edom. Verse 31.
And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point of death.
Right?
And what profit shall this birthright do to me?
He said, what profit shall this birthright do to me? He's like, I'm hungry right now. I don't care about a birthright. We're going to explain that in a minute. Verse 33.
And Jacob said, Swear to me this day, and he swore unto him.
He swore unto him. That response that Jacob got was not good enough about, I don't care about the birthright. So that's why he said even a more clear, defining answer. So he said, Esau, swear unto me that you don't want it. Right? Continue.
And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Esau despised his birthright. But what did he give up? We're going to see what he gave up. Right? So Jacob told him, swear to me first. Right? So Esau would swear to his brother that on that day he would agree to sell his birthright for a bowl of red stew. After hearing that, Jacob then gave Esau red stew and some bread. Esau eat and drink, and then he would get up and leave. Now, at that point, the scriptures make it clear that Esau despised his birthright, which basically means he looked down on it. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. He thought it was useless. But what did he give up? Does anybody know what he gave up? That birthright? What was it?
The 12 tribes?
No. It wasn't the 12 tribes. What was the birthright that Esau gave up?
That was made to Abraham and Isaac.
The Abrahamic covenant. So Genesis 17 and 1. He gave up the Abraham covenant that the Most High made with Abraham for a bowl of stew and some bread. Let's go Genesis 17, and we're going to read verses 1 through 8. Genesis 17, verses 1 through 8. All right? Let's read it.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the mighty power. Walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
That's right.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee.
Go ahead.
And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee.
I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee. That's what Esau gave up. Keep going.
In their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a power unto thee, and to thy seed after thee.
Verse 8.
And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their power.
Okay? All right. What other questions?
Okay, the first one, someone says, Elder, I know it's prophetic that Jacob would get the birthright, but was Jacob kind of wrong because his brother was at a point of death to eat, and Jacob kind of took advantage of that native trait?
Possibly. Possibly. I don't know if he took advantage of that, but at the same time, Esau had every right to say, you know what, no. And in fact, Esau was stronger than Jacob, so Esau could have just beat him up and took the food. Right? Let's understand something. Esau was a hunter. So if he really wanted the birthright, he would have just punched Jacob in the head and took the pottage. Right? He would have did that. But see, Esau didn't want it. And Jacob knew he didn't want it. He didn't care about it. So that's a difference. If Esau cared about it, then all this would be kind of bad for Jacob. But it was already prophesied that Jacob would be the one. And it was already prophesied through the Most High. So because Esau just willingly gave it up, without a fight, without anything.
It's like you don't know what you got and take
To
it
this
up,
God.
or you don't miss what you have until it's up.
Right, I think we're gonna see that later on, right? What's the other question?
Why is it said that Jacob stole the birthright?
Jacob didn't steal the birthright. Birthright was his. Right, so he stole the birthright.
Said that Jacob stole Esau's birthright from him.
No, it says in verse 33, he sold his birthright to Jacob. He didn't steal it.
Yeah, he sold it.
He sold his birthright to Jacob. In verse 33, he didn't steal it. So that's what a lot of people put on, that he stole the birthright. Now, the blessing, that's something a little different. The inheritance, that's a little different. I think we may be a little confused. The birthright and the inheritance are two different things. It's not the same thing. The birthright is the covenant through Abraham. The inheritance is what was left behind. So see, that's why Jacob was like, sell me this birthright this day. But when it came to the inheritance, the stuff, Esau was livid. Esau didn't care about no birthright, no covenant with the Most High. He didn't care about the Most High. He didn't care about that. Right? A birthright was the most important thing, to be honest. The birthright was the most important thing because that was a covenant between Abraham and the Most High. But when it came down to the inheritance, the stuff, the sheep, the lamb, the gold, the silver, whatever, all that stuff, the inheritance, that's when Esau flipped. Because he liked material things. He didn't care about spiritual things. They do until this day. Right? We finished that off, right? All right.
Someone said, okay, so birthright and inheritance are different.
Yes, the birthright and the inheritance are two different things, two different events, they're different. They're not the same. The birthright and the inheritance is not the same. Huh? We went through Genesis 17, 1 through 8. So we have to understand that Esau, his understanding was a little limited. Now, it is possible that he didn't understand all what the birthright meant. He thought he had the skills, the talents, and he thought he'd be able to conquer fields, conquer the world. So what care is it for a birthright? He
Mm-hmm.
wanted the inheritance. He wanted the stuff to make himself more wealthy. Right? So there's a difference there. He didn't care about a birthright. What does that mean? I was born first, so what? I'm going to take all this, I'm going to take this world. That's what I'm going to take. I want this world. Kind of like what people do today. I want to live comfortable right now while I'm in this world. I don't want to wait until the New Jerusalem. I want my stuff now.
Oh, that's what
I want-
$4 said.
Yeah, see?
He said he want his money, his gold now.
Right.
He said he ain't trying to go to heaven, but
Well, he ain't going. Let's just say that. Hell is your next stop, Mr. Dollar.
I think you gotta talk to Dad Issachar.
Once,
He
yes.
said, see, Elder, when Jacob fooled Isaac by putting Harry promise on to make him think he was Esau, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get that blessing. No, we're not promoting that. You gotta do what you gotta do to get your, we're not gonna promote that.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to get that blessing.
No. We're gonna be quiet on that one.
Let's be quiet on that one. Let's go Jacob and Esau timeline. Let's do this timeline. Alright, there's been, if you look at the Bible, there has been two people who hated each other more than Jacob and Esau. From the same womb, right? They're truly a man of spirit and a man of flesh. Jacob being the man of spirit, Esau being the man of flesh. So we're going to go back to Genesis, the 25th chapter. We're going to read one verse. Genesis 25 and 27. Bear with us because we're going to be toggling now from Genesis to Jasher. Genesis to Jasher. Genesis to Jasher. Right? So if you have your Jasher, which I know you all have, get your Jasher out. If you don't, then I believe you can, it's online as a PDF for free.
Yes, it is.
Alright? So, we're going to start with this timeline, and we're going to start with not just quite yet. Okay, let's get some verses before we get to the timeline. Genesis 25, 27, let's read.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Alright, so plain man dwelling in tents. We're going to skip over to Jasher, the 26th chapter, and we're going to read verse 17. The book of Jasher, chapter 26, verse 17. For those of you who are not familiar with the book of Jasher, there's a couple of verses in the Bible that promotes the book of Jasher. We got 1 Samuel, we got, is it Titus? 2 Timothy, that talk about the book of Jasher. The book of Jasher, yes, there are some things in the book of Jasher that are a little questionable. But for the most part, the book of Jasher lines up with the Bible. So therefore, we're going to use it. Genesis 26 and 17. Let's read. I'm sorry, Jasher 26 and 17.
Jasher chapter 26, verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys grew up to their 15th year, and they came amongst the society of men.
Mm-hmm.
Esau was a designing and deceitful man, and an expert hunter in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob was a man perfect and wise, dwelling in tents, feeding flocks and learning the instructions of the Lord and the commands of his father and mother.
Right, so Jacob was doing what he was supposed to do. Notice it says dwelling in tents. They all still lived in tents, not Esau. Esau started to build a house like they did in Canaan. Okay, that's why he keeps referring to Jacob as dwelling in tents. Because Esau, when you read through, you'll find out that Esau wanted to have houses like the Canaanites, right? So Esau was a designing and deceitful man, right? Read in Psalms, the scripture, a wonderful passage in Psalms says his words are smooth as butter, smooth like oil, but war was in his heart, right? So Esau was designing and a deceitful man. He was an expert hunter in the field. Right? Nothing wrong with being a hunter, by the way. Nothing wrong with that. But he was deceitful. Jacob tended the flocks, but he learned the instructions of the Lord. We're going to find out how he learned the instructions of the Lord. And he listened to the commands of his mother and father. Esau didn't do that. Also in the 15th year, something happened in the 15th year of the life of Jacob and Esau. Something happened to Abraham. So we're going to go Jasher 26, and we're going to read 28 to 29. Something happened to Abraham in the 15th year of Esau and Jacob. So let's read that in Jasher 26, and we're going to read verses 28 and 29. Okay? Let's read that.
Jasher, chapter 26, verse 28. And Isaac answered his father and said unto him, That which my Lord has commanded, that will I do. And I will not depart from the commands of the Lord my power. I will keep all that he commanded me. And Abraham blessed his son Isaac, and also his children. And Abraham taught Jacob the instruction of the Lord and his ways.
So Abraham taught Jacob the instruction of the Lord and his ways. Why not Esau? I'm going to show you why not Esau. Verse 29.
And it was at that time that Abraham died, in the 15th year of the life of Jacob and Esau, the sons of Isaac. And all the days of Abraham were 175 years. And he died and was gathered to his people in good old age. Old and satisfied with days, and Isaac and Ishmael his sons buried him.
Isaac and Ishmael buried Abraham. All right? So Abraham, Jacob and Esau were 15 years old when Abraham died. Jacob was learning the ways of Abraham, learning the Lord through Abraham. But we're going to find out about Esau. What about Esau? Right? We're going to see why Esau wasn't. So here's a timeline of the lives of Jacob and Esau. We're going to find out that they're two very different men. So we're going to go to their birth, right? From the beginning, their birth. The older shall serve the younger. Isaac is about 60 years old at this point. So we're going to stay in Jasher. We're going to stay in chapter 26. And we're going to read verse 12 to 15. And then hold that and get Genesis 25, 23 to 26. We'll give everybody a moment to toggle between Bible and Jasher. Jasher 26, 12 through 15. Then we're going to read Genesis 25, 23 to 26. Okay. If you have questions, feel free to put them on the chat. Let's read Jasher.
Jasher, chapter 26, verse 12. And they all inquired of the Lord concerning this matter. And they brought her word from the Lord and told her, 2 children are in thy womb, and 2 nations shall rise from them. And 1 nation shall be stronger than the other, and the greater shall serve the younger.
All right, so they all inquired. You're talking about Abraham, you're talking Shem, Eber, all of them inquired of the Lord in this matter. And this is the answer that they got. Verse 13.
And when her days to be delivered were completed, she knelt down, and behold, there were twins in her womb, as the Lord had spoken to her.
Verse 14.
And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And all the people of the land called his name Esau, saying that this one was made complete from the womb.
This one was made complete from the womb. What that means is that he was a man coming out the womb. He was a man. He did not look like a baby. He looked like a man coming out the womb. Correct. Verse 15.
And after that came his brother, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. Therefore they called his name Jacob.
They called his name Jacob. Supplanter is what Jacob means. Right? Let's go over to Genesis, the 25th chapter. and we're going to read 23 to 26. Read pretty much the same thing, but let's read it.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
26.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him.
Right, 80 years old when she bare him, right? So now we're at the age of 0, now we're at the age of 15, and they become men. Jacob is perfect and wise, who dwelt in the heavens. Esau is a designing and deceitful man. So, we're going to get Genesis 25 and 27. And then we're going to get, again, Joshua 26 and 17. Genesis 25 and 27. And then we're going to get Joshua 26 and 17. Okay? Let's read it.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents.
Right? So Esau was a cunning hunter. Jacob was a plain man. Let's read Joshua 26:17 again.
Joshua chapter 26, verse 17. And the boys grew up to their 15th year, and they came amongst the society of men. Esau was a designing and deceitful man, and an expert hunter in the field. And Jacob was a man perfect and wise, dwelling in tents, feeding flocks and learning the instructions of the Lord, and the commands of his father and mother.
And the commands of his father and mother. We also know already that Abraham died when Jacob and Esau were 15. What event do you think happened when they turned 16? When they turned 16 years old. 16 was an important year for Esau, I guess, because what happened when Esau turned 16 is that he kills Nimrod. But also something much more important happened when they turned 16. We're going to go Genesis chapter 25 again, and we're going to read verses 29 to 34 again. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 29. And Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point of death. And what profit shall this birthright do unto me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink. And rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Now, as far as Nimrod goes, we're going to look at that later on in the lesson. That's in Joshua 27 chapter. We're going to look at that a little later. And we're going to look at that with the birthright a little later in the book of Joshua. Right? So at 17 years old, there's a great famine in the land. So Isaac had to move to Gerar for a full year. So let's see that we're going to go Genesis 26, 1 through 6, And then we have to go to Jasher 28. Verses 1 through 4. All right, Genesis 26, verses 1 through 6. This is when Jacob and Esau turned 17. And Jasher 28, verses 1 through 4. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 26, verse 1. And there was a famine in the land, beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him, and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell you.
All right, he told Isaac, don't go into Egypt, go into the land where I'm going to tell you to go. Verse 3.
Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars in heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries.
Mm-hmm.
And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed.
See, in thy seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. He's talking to Isaac right now. Verse 5.
Because that Abraham obeyed my voice,
Mm-hmm.
and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar.
All right, so Isaac dwelt in Gerar. All right? So we're going to go over to Jasher, the 28th chapter. And we're going to read verses 1 through 4. Jasher 28, verses 1 through 4. Okay, let's read.
Jasher chapter 28, verse 1. And in those days, after the death of Abraham, in that year the Lord brought a heavy famine in the land. And whilst the famine was raging in the land of Canaan, Isaac rose up to go down to Egypt on account of the famine, as his father Abraham had done. And the Lord appeared that night to Isaac, and he said to him, Do not go down to Egypt, but rise and go to Gerar.
Hold there for a second. So remember, in the Bible it just says that the Lord told him to go there. Isaac had intentions on going to Egypt. The father said, no, don't go to Egypt, go to Gerar. Okay, read.
To Abimelech, king of the Philistines, and remain there till the famine shall cease.
Verse 3.
And Isaac arose up and went to Gerar, as the Lord commanded him, and he remained there a full year.
All right, that's where we get where Isaac was there for a full year. This is the 17th year of Jacob and Esau. Verse 4.
And when Isaac came to Gerar, the people of the land saw that Rebekah his wife was of a beautiful appearance. And the people of Gerar asked Isaac concerning his wife, and he said, She is my sister.
Father, just like father, like son. Go ahead.
For he was afraid to say she was his wife, lest the people of the land should slay him on account of her.
Like father, like son, right? Same thing. All right. So during the 17th year, Selah, the son of Arphaxad, dies. And we know Arphaxad was the grandson, I believe, Shem. Isaac sends Jacob to Shem and Eber's house to learn the ways of the Most High. But Esau did not go. Let's see why. Let's stay in Joshua 28, and we're going to read verses 17 and 18. Let's read.
Joshua chapter 28, verse 17. And after this, Shalach, the son of Arpachshad, died in that year, which is the 18th year of the lives of Jacob and Esau. And all the days that Shalach lived were 433 years, and he died. At that time, Isaac sent his younger son Jacob to the house of Shem and Eber. And he learned the instructions of the Lord. And Jacob remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years.
32 years. And you want to learn ministry in 6 months. 32 years, Jacob was learning from Shem and Eber. Now Shem, I know he had to be close to 900. He had to be pretty old. Because, yeah, he had to be pretty old. Because, wasn't Shem Noah's son? He had to be pretty old, right? So he went back to learn from Shem and Eber, the Hebrew. Go ahead.
And Esau, his brother, did not go.
He did not go. Come on.
For he was not willing to go.
Uh-huh.
And he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan.
He didn't want to go. But he's probably told Isaac, I'm not going. Jacob, you won't go. Jacob spent 32 years learning from Shem and Eber. I know that's a wealth of knowledge. 18 years old, Esau hunted after the hearts of men, right? So stay in Joshua, and we're going to read verse 20. Joshua 28 and 20. This is still 18. Now Esau, understand, had already killed Nimrod. He killed Nimrod when he was 17 years old. So imagine you 17 and you killed one of the most powerfulest men in the world. Because that's what Nimrod was at the time. Esau this is the building of a narcissist.
So Shem and Eber couldn't teach him nothing. Because he thought he already knew.
Right, because he killed Nimrod before Jacob and Esau were told to go to Shem and Eber. Right? Like I said, we're going to do Genesis, Joshua 27 a little later. Let's do Joshua 28 and 20, please.
Joshua chapter 28, verse 20. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them. And Esau was a valiant man in the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt. And he came as far as the field of Seir, the same is Edom.
Field of Seir, and the name is Edom. We're going to find out also, how did they get to Seir? What happened that they got to Seir? And what went on at Seir? Right? We're going to find out that about Esau as well. At the age of 40, Esau marries Jehudith, daughter of Beri. Okay? So Esau starts marrying. Jacob is not married yet. Let's go to Joshua 28 and skip down to verse 22 and read 22 and 23.
Joshua chapter 28, verse 22. And Esau there saw in the land of Seir the daughter of a man of Canaan. And her name was Jehudith, the daughter of Beri, son of Ephraim, from the families of Heth, the son of Canaan. And Esau took her for a wife, and he came unto her. 40 years old was Esau when he took her. And he brought her to Hebron, the land of his father's dwelling place, and he dwelt there.
All right, so he dwelt there, right? That was not a pleasant sight for Isaac and Rebekah, for sure. They did not want their sons to marry Canaanite women. But, as we know, Esau married a multitude of women, right? So at the age of 50, Shem dies. And Shem dies at 600. Jacob comes back to Isaac. Isaac is 110 years now. 110 years old. After 32 years, Jacob comes back. You know, Shem died. Okay, I'm going to go back to my father. Let's go to, let's read verse 28. Joshua 28 and Joshua 28 and 24.
Joshua chapter 28, verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass in those days, in the 110th year of the life of Isaac, that is in the 50th year of the life of Jacob, In that year died Shem, the son of Noah.
Mm-hmm.
Shem was 600 years old at his death.
All right, Shem was 600 years old at his death. Jacob stayed with Shem until the last of his days. Those 32 years, he went back to Isaac. Isaac was 110 years old. Right? Now, let's switch it off a little bit. Jacob is about 56. And guess who was born? Leah and Rachel. Leah and Rachel were born to Laban. All right? So we're going to stay in Jasher, the 28th chapter. Like I said, we're going to break down their entire life to get a full understanding of why Jacob and Esau are bitter enemies. Right? But in order to do that, you have to go back to the beginning, to the birth. And you have to go through each and every section of their life. Right? This is the only way that you would be, this is the only way to teach. And this is the only way to learn. This is the only way to understand why the hatred is so bitter between Jacob and Esau. Okay? Jasher, the 28th chapter, and we're going to read verses 26 to 28. Because I'm quite sure it was thought that Jacob, Leah, and Rachel were all about the same age. Right?
I thought they were, yeah.
No. Jacob was a good 50 years older than Leah and Rachel. Right? But we're going to find out a lot of stuff that we probably didn't know until today. Let's read that.
Jasher, chapter 28, verse 26. And in the 56th year of the life of Jacob, people came from Haran, and Rebekah was told concerning her brother Laban, the son of Bethuel. For the wife of Laban was barren in those days, and bare no children.
Right?
And also all his handmaids bare none to him.
Right? So Laban had, we're not going to talk about Laban too much. Verse 28.
And the Lord afterward remembered Adinah, the wife of Laban, and she was conceived and bare twin daughters. And Laban called the names of his daughters, the name of the elder Leah, and the name of the younger Rachel.
Okay.
Okay,
So we didn't know that they were twins, right?
yes, I was going to say that. Because
Okay.
when they say the oldest daughter, you think she's maybe a couple years older. You
Right.
think that they were twins, yeah.
Okay. So this is why Jasher is important. All right. They were twins. They were not years apart.
So Jacob was a twin and
Correct.
they were twins.
Correct. So at 63, Jacob gets Isaac's blessing. And Isaac is about 123. It was thought, and maybe it was thought that when Jacob got the blessing, he was younger. Which is not the case. All right? Let's go Genesis 27, verses 26 to 29. And then we're going to go Jasher 29, verses 6 through 8. And we'll give you a few moments to get those scriptures. Genesis 27, 26 to 29. Jasher 29, verses 6 through 8. Knowledge is everything. Ignorance is deadly. Let's read Genesis 27.
Genesis chapter 27, verse 26. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field, which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore the Most High gives thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Verse 29. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee.
All right, so that's the blessing that Jacob received from Isaac. Isaac thought that he was talking to Esau. Okay. Let's see this again in Joshua 29th chapter. And we're going to read verses 6 to 8. Let's read.
Joshua chapter 29, verse 6. And Jacob hastened and did as his mother had commanded him. And he made the savory meat and brought it before his father, before Esau had come from his chase. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Who art thou, my son? And he said, I am thy firstborn Esau. I have done as thou didst order me. Now therefore rise up, I pray thee, and eat of my hunt, in order that thy soul may bless me as thou didst speak unto me. And Isaac rose up, and he ate, and he drank, and his heart was comforted. And he blessed Jacob, and Jacob went away from his father. And as soon as Isaac had blessed Jacob, and he had gone away from him, behold, Esau came from his hunt from the field. And he also made savory meat, and brought it to his father to eat thereof, and to bless him.
All right, to eat thereof and to bless him. Go down to verse 11 and read verse 11.
Joshua chapter 29, verse 11. And Jacob was very much afraid of his brother Esau. And he rose up and fled to the house of Eber, the son of Shem. And he concealed himself there on account of his brother. And Jacob was 63 years old when he went forth from the land of Canaan from Hebron.
All right, we're going to see what happened with Esau when he turned 63. Go ahead.
And Jacob was concealed in Eber's house 14 years on account of his brother Esau. And
On
he
account of his brother Esau. See, when you start reading through the Bible, you start thinking that all this stuff happened in short time frames when they were a lot younger. But as we find out, and as we continue to find out through the Bible, they were a lot older when a lot of this stuff was going on.
Esau was still acting up.
Correct. Continue.
And he there continued to learn the ways of the Lord and his commandments.
So he still, remember, Jacob spent 32 years with Shem and Eber.
Yes.
So now he goes back, and how many more years did he spend with them?
He
14.
went back to Eber.
He went back to Eber and spent another 14 years to learn the ways of the Lord.
That's why we say you should be learning every day. It's always
Every day?
something to learn, to grow from.
Every day.
Mhm.
Imagine that. 32 plus 14, right? 46 years. He was learning the ways of the Lord. 46 years.
So if you come across an elder or pastor that think that they know everything, that's a narcissist.
That's a narcissist. They're foolish. 46 years Jacob was learning from either Shem or Eber.
And not only that, even in the New Jerusalem, we're still going to be learning.
Correct. Yeshua is going to be teaching us this time, though.
We will never know it all. Never.
Never. Okay? Let's go, let's see what, we saw what happened to Jacob when he turned 63. What happened with Esau when he turned 63? Marrying other women again, right? Let's go Joshua 29 and 12. Joshua 29 and verse 12.
Joshua chapter 29, verse 12. And when Esau saw that Jacob had fled and escaped from him, and that Jacob had cunningly obtained the blessing, then Esau grieved exceedingly.
Hold there. See, Esau greed. He wanted the stuff. He didn't want the birthright. Keep going.
And he was also vexed at his father and mother.
He was angry at his father and mother because he thought that he thought Isaac knew about all this. And let's be honest, Isaac probably had some kind of indication because he did say, that's the voice of Jacob. You sound like the voice of Jacob, but the smell and the feel, because Isaac was almost blind, is of Esau. So I think he had some kind of idea. Also, Isaac was very upset at Esau because he kept marrying strange women. So it's a possibility that Isaac probably knew. Keep going.
And he also rose up and took his wife and went away from his father and mother to the land of Seir, and he dwelt there. And Esau saw there a woman from amongst the daughters of Heth, whose name was Bosmath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And he took her for a wife in addition to his first wife, and Esau called her name Adah, saying the blessing had in that time passed from him.
All right, the blessing passed from him. All right? So now we're starting to see the hatred between Jacob and Esau, but it gets much better after this. What's the question before we get to Ishmael?
Someone says, Elder, it's safe to say that they were probably not identical twins because Jacob was more attracted to Rachel.
They probably weren't. You speaking of Leah and Rachel?
The twins, yeah.
No, they probably weren't identical. They probably weren't identical. They more than likely were fraternal. But they were twins. So they probably weren't identical. Wait, fraternal, isn't that boy girl? Oh, okay.
What's the
Anyway.
boy girl?
No, that's just boy girl.
Oh.
Fraternal is twins, but they don't
Look
really,
alike.
they don't look quite alike. Right? Identical. Siamese, you know what that is.
Those are cats.
No, it's not. Siamese twins are when a person is they're stuck together.
Oh.
So did Leah come out first then? Is that what she's considered the oldest?
Leia had to come out first.
She's
She's
the
the oldest.
But we always
I always
thought,
thought they were
because it said when she was the oldest, we thought they were born like separately, at
No,
different
they were
times.
twins. All right, Ishmael died. When they turned 64, Ishmael dies at 137 years old. Okay? So Jacob and Esau are now 64. Let's go to Joshua 29 and 18. Let's read that.
Joshua chapter 29, verse 18. And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, died in those days, in the 64th year of the life of Jacob. And all the days that Ishmael lived were 137 years, and he died.
All right, so we're going through a timeline to get an understanding of why this great hatred between Jacob and Esau. At the age of 65, Adah gives birth to Eliphaz. Right? Eliphaz, well, let's find out who Eliphaz was. We're going to stay in Joshua 29, and we're going to read verse 17. Eliphaz, if you don't know, was, I believe, Esau's first son. Let's read.
Joshua chapter 29, verse 17. And in those days, Adah, the wife of Esau, conceived and bare him a son. And Esau called the name of the son that was born unto him Eliphaz. And Esau was 65 years old when she bare him.
All right, so now it's 77. Jacob returns home 14 years later. Isaac is about 137 now. Right? Remember, he went to Eber to live for 14 years and learn the ways of the Lord. Now he comes back. So let's go Jasher 29 and verse 20.
Jasher, chapter 29, verse 20.
Go ahead.
And at the end of 14 years of Jacob's residing in the house of Eber, Jacob desired to see his father and mother. And Jacob came to the house of his father and mother to Hebron. And Esau had in those days forgotten what Jacob had done to him, and having taken the blessing from him in those days.
Oh, but somebody reminded Esau of that. We're going to find out who reminded Esau of the birthright of everything that was taken. See, Esau was now, he's got what, 2 wives now? He thinks he's living high. He doesn't care about anything now. He doesn't remember. He doesn't care about Jacob or what's happening. He forgot. But there was someone who reminded Esau. And oh, did that light a fire to a flame. We're going to see that also. All right, so now 77, Jacob leaves for Haran. Okay? And what is he going to find in Haran? Right? We're going to go to the Bible, and we're going to read Genesis 28 and 5. Now, Jacob is 77. But let's read Genesis 28 and 5.
Genesis chapter 28, verse 5. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother.
How old would you think Jacob was when you first read that scripture? Did you think he was 77?
No, I thought he was a young man.
I thought he was a young man. See how reading both books, you gain in knowledge, you gain in understanding. Jacob was 77 years old at this time. Esau decides to marry somebody else, the daughter of Ishmael. He was 77 years old when he married her. So we're going to go back to Jasher 29, and we're going to read verse 43.
So this was his third wife.
Number 3, correct.
He's 77 with 3 wives.
77 years old with 3 wives. But you have to remember this too. Back in those days, 77 was like the 30. 77 wasn't like 77 now. Jasher 29 and 43. And hold that. And we're going to read Genesis 28, 8 and 9. Okay? Let's read.
Jasher chapter 29, verse 43. Then he went to the house of Ishmael, his uncle. And in addition to his older wives, he took Mahlah, the daughter of Ishmael, the sister of Nebiah, for a wife.
All right. Let's go over. This is Esau marrying an Ishmaelite wife. Genesis 29. I'm sorry, Genesis 28.
Genesis chapter 28, verse 8. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahlah, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebiah, to be his wife.
So see, verse 8, Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan pleased not his father. So what does he do? He just throws flame on the fire. When a child sees that a parent don't like something, a lot of times that child is going to continue to do what that parent does not want them to do. Rebellion. Rebellion. So now Esau says, you know what? These women of Canaan, I probably don't like these, so you know what? Let me do one better. Let me get a wife from Ishmael. Let me really stick it to him. Right? Don't think it happens today, huh? Yeah, it does. So Esau went and said, you know what? I know my father. I know there's bad blood between Ishmael and Isaac. I'm gonna go marry. Now, imagine you have a child and a rival, a bitter rival that you have. Your child goes and marries the son or daughter of that rival. How would you feel? Oh, I know Isaac was married. Guess what else happened when they turned 77? Something about Jacob in 7 years, right? 77, the Most High promises to Jacob, and this begins the first of the 7 years. The Most High makes a promise to Jacob. Jacob was 77 when it happened. We're going to go Jasher 30 and 14. All right, let's read Jasher 30 and 14.
Jasher chapter 30, verse 14. And Jacob said unto Laban, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban consented to this, and Jacob served Laban 7 years for his daughter Rachel.
So this was the start of the 7 years. Jacob was 77 at this time. And he still was working. Like we read yesterday, you gotta work to eat. Jacob is 79 when Eber dies. Remember, Eber was one he spent almost 46 years with. Eber dies. When Eber dies, he's 460 years old. Let's see that in Jasher. We're still in Jasher 30, verse 15.
Jasher chapter 30, verse 15. And in the 2nd year of Jacob's dwelling in Haran, that is, in the 79th year of the life of Jacob, in that year died Eber the son of Shem. He was 464 years old at his death.
So Eber dies, the son of Shem, Eber the grandson of Noah. Okay, 460 years. Now we're at age 80. And at age 80, Esau has a son. So we're going to skip over to Genesis 36 and 4. Genesis 36 and 4. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 36, verse 4. And Adab bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Reuel.
All right, Bashemath bare Reuel. So he's having children. And he's still having children. We're going to understand the importance of the children later. 81, Laban has 3 sons, and he's getting wealthy because of Jacob. He's getting wealthy because of Jacob now. Jacob is 81 years old at this time. We're going to go Jasher 30, 18, and 19. Jasher 30, 18, and 19. Okay, let's read that.
Jasher chapter 30, verse 18. And in the 4th year of Jacob's residence in the house of Laban, the Lord visited Laban and remembered him on account of Jacob. And sons were born unto him. And his firstborn was Beor, his second was Elib, and the third was Korath. And the Lord gave Laban riches and honor, sons and daughters, and the man increased greatly on account of Jacob.
On account of Jacob. Now, if you spent 46 years with the Lord, or if you spent 46 years learning the Lord from Shem and Eber, then anybody who you come around is going to be blessed. Correct. Okay? Remember the Abraham covenant. We followed through to Jacob. So, at 83 years old, Esau takes another wife.
Oh my goodness. How will these dogs
I don't know. Let's go to Jasher. We're still in chapter, you should be still in chapter 30. Skip down to verse 23 to 25.
Jasher chapter 30, verse 23. And when Yehudith died, Esau rose up and went to Seir to hunt in the field, as usual. And Esau dwelt in the land of Seir for a long time. And in the sixth year, Esau took for a wife, in addition to his other wives, Ahlibamah, the daughter of Zebeon, the Hittite. And Esau brought her to the land of Canaan. And Ahlibamah conceived and bare unto Esau 3 sons, Yehush, Yalan, and Korah.
Right. More sons being added on. Right? So, 84 years old is when the wedding happened with Leah and Rachel. Now, Leah and Rachel were 28 at the time. So, I know you're thinking in your head, oh, that's pretty sick. 84-year-old man with a 28-year-old woman. Right? But you have to understand, the 84-year-old man back in those days is not like an 84-year-old man today. Okay? Let's see that in Jasher 31, and we're going to read verses 1 through 7.
Yeah, that was no GMOs.
Right. So Jacob was 84 years old when the wedding so-called ceremony happened with what he thought was Rachel, but it turned out to be Leah.
And these young women didn't mind marrying these old men.
Well, I understand that this is normal. Men, we just read that Eber died at 460. So 84 is not old when you're living 400 plus years. Of course, we all know that the time span for man started to shorten drastically, right? But they saw men living to be 400 and 600 years old. Let's read it.
Jasher chapter 31, verse 1. And in the 7th year, Jacob's service which he served Laban was completed. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for the days of my service are fulfilled. And Laban did so, and Laban and Jacob assembled all the people of that place, and they made a feast.
Verse 2.
And in the evening Laban came to the house, and afterward Jacob came there with the people of the feast. And Laban extinguished all the lights that were in the house. And Jacob said unto Laban, Wherefore dost thou do this thing unto us? And Laban answered, Such is our custom to act in this land.
Right.
And afterward Laban took his daughter Leah, and he brought her to Jacob. And he came to her, and Jacob did not know that she was Leah. And Laban gave his daughter Leah, his maid Zilpah, for a handmaid.
And we know Zilpah is the mother of a couple of tribes. We'll get to that in about 3 weeks. Verse 6.
And all the people at the feast knew what Laban had done to Jacob. But they did not tell the thing to Jacob.
See, that's something that's not known. Everybody knew what Laban was up to. Everybody knew it but Jacob. Verse 7.
And all the neighbors came that night to Jacob's house, and they ate and drank and rejoiced, and played before Leah upon timbrels,
Those backstabbers.
and with dances, And they responded before Jacob, Hallel, Hallel.
Hallel, Hallel, right? So they're singing songs, they're praising, you know, they're something else. People are something else. But that's what happens when somebody who has money, and Laban had money.
It was because of Jacob, though.
Right, it's because of Jacob, and Laban had money. So, you know what? I'm going to be a yes man to Laban because I want some of his money.
Food and drinks. He probably had the best of everything.
Let's get down to verse 10. And let's read 10 through 13.
Joshua chapter 31, verse 10. And in the morning, when daylight appeared, Jacob turned to his wife, and he saw. And behold, it was Leah that had been lying in his bosom. And Jacob said, Behold now, I know what the neighbors said last night. Hallel, they said, and I knew it not. And Jacob called unto Laban, and said unto him, What is this that thou didst unto me? Surely I served thee for Rachel. And why didst thou deceive me, and didst give me Leah?
Why did you deceive me? Verse 12.
And Laban answered Jacob, saying, Not so is it done in our place to give the younger before the elder. Now therefore, if thou desirest to take her sister likewise, take her unto thee for the service which thou wilt serve me for another 7 years.
See that?
He was
Laban
already,
was something else. He was already plotting and planning this.
Jacob was almost 90 at this point, wasn't he?
He was
He was 80.
89. He's 89 as of right now.
So another 7 years.
Correct. Next verse.
And Jacob did so. And he also took Rachel for a wife, and he served Laban 7 years more. And Jacob also came to Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah. And Laban gave her his maid Bilhah for a handmaid.
Okay, that's another issue that we're going to deal with when we start talking about the 12 patriarchs. So at 91, Jacob finishes the second 7 years, and then Rachel gives birth to Joseph. So on your own time, read Genesis 29 and 30. We don't have time to go through all that. Okay? But let's go to Joshua 31, and let's read 19 to 21. And then we're going to go Genesis 31, verses 16 to 18. "91 years old, or 91 years young," because he's getting popping out babies. Let's read Joshua 31.
Joshua chapter 31, verse 19. And Rachel was still barren in those days. And Rachel prayed unto the Lord at that time. And she said, O Lord power, remember me and visit me. I beseech thee, for now my husband will cast me off, for I have borne him no children.
Verse 20.
Now, O Lord power, hear my supplication before thee, and see my affliction, and give me children like one of the handmaids, that I may no more bear my reproach. And the Most High heard her, and opened her womb, and Rachel conceived and bare a son. And she said, The Lord has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, saying, May the Lord add to me another son. And Jacob was 91 years old when she bare him.
All right, Jacob, 91 years old when Joseph was born. Okay, he's got one more son to go. Let's go over to Genesis 31, and we're going to read verses 16 to 18. Genesis 31, 16 to 18. Let's read that.
Genesis chapter 31, verse 16. For all the riches which the Most High hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children. Now then, whatsoever the Most High hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and wives and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan.
All right, so then now Jacob is getting ready to leave. So let's skip over to Genesis 32, and we're going to read verses 22 to 28. Now remember, Esau totally forgot about everything that happened, but somebody reminded him of that. That's coming up real shortly. Let's read Genesis 32, and we're going to start at verse 22. What is that?
Genesis chapter 32, verse 22.
Yes.
And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok.
Right, he had 11 sons. Remember, Benjamin was not born yet. Keep going.
And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with the Most High and with men, and hast prevailed.
Now imagine that. You're wrestling with an angel. You're wrestling with an angel. Now, the angel could have easily snapped his head if he really wanted to win. Right? But it's persistent. Persistence in the word. Staying in the word. Staying in the fight. Staying in the struggle. That's what Jacob was doing. And Jacob was saying, no, I will not let you go until you bless me. Staying in the fight. Even with a busted hip, Jacob is still staying with the fight. And let's understand, he's over 90 right now.
So he could have took Esau. Why was he afraid of Esau?
No, Esau was a different beast. Esau was a different beast. Let's understand something. If an angel is wrestling with you, I can guarantee you that the angel will win.
He was holding back.
He was holding back.
Yeah.
There is no way that us as mortal people can wrestle and defeat something that is supernatural. An angel. This angel could have been, I mean, it touched his thigh, just touched his thigh, and his wood and his thigh went out of joint. Just from touching it. So we have to understand and know that this angel was there for a reason, and it's to show the persistency of Jacob, who is now Israel. Very interesting, huh? When you start to really read. We're going to go to Jasher 33.
Do you think that also can happen if someone deals with a certain spirit and they get delivered and overcome it, they then can change as well?
Sure. Of course. All right, 97 years old. Jacob stays in Shechem. He's in Shechem for about a year and a half. Jacob is about 97. Right? And just bear with us as we get through this timeline. We should be learning some new stuff. I mean, it's incredible the stuff that we learn when we take that time.
And it's our people, our history.
Correct.
It's more interesting than when we used to sit in school and
Remember
learn.
Christopher Columbus?
He was a good old boy. He founded
Yeah,
America.
he was a good old boy, right? He was one of the first good old boys. You know what I'm talking about? Backward Mississippi with the cloaks on. Good old boy, right? Still Columbus was the first. Stealing from Columbus was one of the first good old boys.
No, but look how they teach you about all those things was lies. Those people was awful.
Right.
And we even paid for that.
Right.
You know, because they college you have to pay for these history classes, and they teach you nothing but lies.
Correct.
None of it is true.
So see, this is a college course right now. Jacob and Esau 101. Or 212.
No, it's too high, not yet. Too fair, not yet.
212 will be in 2 weeks when we get to Esau and Edom. We'll really have to think on that one. Joshua 33, verses 3 and 4. Let's read it.
Joshua chapter 33, verse 3. And Jacob there built himself a house, and he pitched his tent there, and he made booths for his cattle. Therefore he called the name of that place Succoth. And Jacob remained in Succoth a year and 6 months.
All right, so he pitched his tent there. He built his house. When it says he built his house, it's not building a house. He cleared the land and, that's building your house, pitched his tent there. Right? Now, 99, Dinah, his daughter. Let's talk about her for a second. She was taken by Shechem. Right? So we're going to go Joshua 33, 6 through 11. And then we're going to go Genesis 34, 1 through 7. Joshua 33, 6 through 11. And then Genesis 34, 1 through 7. All right, let's read.
Joshua chapter 33, verse 6. And Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, also went along with them, and saw the daughters of the city, and they remained there before these daughters, whilst all the people of the city were standing by them, to behold their rejoicings. And all the great people of the city were there. And Shechem, the son of Hamor, the prince of the land, was also standing there to see them. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, sitting with her mother before the daughters of the city. And the damsel pleased him greatly. And he there asked his friends and his people, saying, Whose daughter is that sitting amongst the women, whom I do not know in this city? And they said unto him, Surely this is the daughter of Jacob, the son of Isaac the Hebrew, who also dwelt in this city for some time. And when it was reported that the daughters of the land were going forth to rejoice, she went with her mother and maidservants to sit amongst them, as thou seest. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and when he looked at her, his soul became fixed upon Dinah.
Oh, he was vexed. 11.
And he sent and had her taken by force.
Oh, bad mistake. Keep going.
And Dinah came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly and lay with her and humbled her. And he loved her exceedingly and placed her in his house.
Now, it wouldn't have been wrong, him seeing her, falling in love, that's fine. But he took her by force. You don't want to do that with the sons of Jacob, especially the two that are going to go after him. Let's go over to Genesis, the 34th chapter. That was a big mistake. Genesis 34, we're going to read verses 1 through 7. Genesis 34, and we're going to read verses 1 through 7. Jacob and Esau. Get a full understanding of the life of Jacob, full understanding of part of the life of Esau. Because we got a lot of information about Esau in 2 weeks. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 34, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hittite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her.
So he took her, later he defiled her. Go ahead.
And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel.
That wasn't really love, that was lust. It's how can you love somebody that you don't even love? That was lust. Keep going.
And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife.
Go ahead.
And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come.
Held his peace until they come. Jacob, he's, I think he's 97 at this time. Oh, okay, all right. Defile my daughter. Next verse.
Then Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him.
Go ahead.
And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel in line with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done.
So you don't mess with the truth. You don't mess with Jacob's sons. You don't mess with family. You don't do that.
So this guy, the prince that raped her, he was a Gentile?
He was a Canaanite. I
Canaanite.
think no way he was a Hittite.
Oh, yeah.
He was a Hittite. Right? You don't do that.
So, yeah.
Okay? Now it took 2 years, but there was going to be revenge for Dinah. Simeon. Jacob is 99 at this point. So we're going to go Jasher. And we're going to be in Jasher for a minute. Jasher 33. And we're going to start at verse 27. And we're going to be in Jasher 33 for a minute. Jasher 33, verses 27 to 33. So we're going to be in Jasher for a little bit. Let's read.
Jasher chapter 33, verse 27.
Come on.
And Shechem spoke before Jacob and his son, saying, May I find favor in your sight, that you will give me your daughter. And whatever you say unto me, that will I do for her. Ask me for abundance of dowry and gift, and I will give it. And whatever you shall say unto me, that will I do. And whoever he be that will rebel against your orders, he shall die. Only give me the damsel for a wife.
See, hold there for a second. All of this would have been nice if he didn't defile her first. If he would have if he would have saw Dinah, oh, she's beautiful. I'm going to go to her father, and I'm going to ask her father. And he would have said, verse 28, all that to his father before he did the act. It would have been good. Jacob probably would have said no, but it would have been fine. Right? And maybe that's why Jacob would have probably said no. Because he was not an Israelite. Now understand this, the Israelites at this point had to marry Canaanite women. They were the closest one to Israelite because they weren't going to marry their sister. Right? So Jacob probably would have said no, who knows? But let's continue to read. Verse 29.
And Simeon and Levi answered Hamor and Shechem his son deceitfully, saying, All you have spoken unto us, we will do for you.
Deceitfully, they're going to do it for you. 30.
And behold, our sister is in your house, but keep away from her until we send to our father Isaac concerning this matter. For we can do nothing without his consent. For he knoweth the ways of our father Abraham. And whatever he saith unto us, we will tell you. We will conceal nothing from you.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 32.
Oh, Isaac is still alive at this point. Keep going.
And Simeon and Levi spoke this unto Shechem and his father in order to find a pretext. and to seek counsel what was to be done to Shechem and to his city in this matter.
Right, they're just buying time right now. Verse 33.
And when Shechem and his father heard the words of Simeon and Levi, it seemed good in their sight, and Shechem and his father came forth to go home.
Right, because they're thinking, okay, we got away. You know, we got Dinah. We're going to give them whatever it is that they want for their daughter. We all good. Let's skip down to verse 35. Same chapter. We're going to stop at 39. Okay? Let's read.
Joshua chapter 33, verse 35. And also because Shechem did this thing to our sister Dinah in defiling her, for such violence shall never be done amongst us. Now therefore know and see what you will do, and seek counsel and pretext what it is to be done to them, in order to kill all the inhabitants of this city.
He didn't say kill just the prince and the father. He said kill everybody. Right? Verse 37.
And Simeon said to them, here is the proper advice for you. Tell them to circumcise every male amongst them as we are circumcised. And if they do not wish to do this, we shall take our daughter from them and go away.
So this man loved, Shechem was in such lust that he was going to say, okay, every man is going to be circumcised. There's a reason for this stuff. Keep going.
And if they consent to do this, and will do it, then when they are sunk down with pain, we will attack them with our swords, as upon one who is quiet and peaceable, and we will slay every male person amongst them.
So they were telling them to get circumcised because in a weakened state, you can't fight.
Not like that.
Not like that. You can't fight when you just got circumcised. Simeon and Levi. Verse 39.
And Simeon's advice pleased them. And Simeon and Levi resolved to do unto them as it was proposed.
As it was proposed, right? Get them circumcised, and then you can have our sister. But in the background, they're saying, you know what? When they're circumcised, we're going to kill all of them. Because we know that they can't fight.
Put some people in chains.
Right. I think they can do more than that. Let's skip over to 34th chapter of Joshua. And we're going to read 25 to 28. Now remember, this little act, Jacob had something for them in Genesis the 49th chapter. Right? Joshua 34, 25 to 28.
Joshua chapter 34, verse 25. And Simeon and Levi continued to go about in the city, and they killed all the people of the city at the edge of the sword, and they left none remaining.
Now understand this. This is not the tribe of Simeon and the tribe of Levi. This is Simeon and Levi.
So 2 people.
2. This is not the tribe of Simeon and the tribe of Levi, and it's hundreds of them. It was only 2. And when we go through the 12 patriarchs, we're going to see the power that these men had. Unbelievable what you come from. 26.
And there was a great consternation in the midst of the city, and the cry of the people of the city ascended to heaven. And all the women and children cried aloud. And Simeon and Levi slew all the city. They left not a male remaining in the whole city. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, at the edge of the sword. And they brought away Dinah from the house of Shechem, and they went from there.
All right, so they killed every single man there. 2 people. Let's see that in the Bible. We're going to go Genesis 34, 26 to 30. And why wasn't this retaliated against? I'm going to show you that too. Well, we're going to show you that. Why wasn't this retaliated? Because the Canaanites was, wait a minute. All our people just got slaughtered. They're all the same. They're all brothers. Cain, Hivites, remember, they came from Ham. They were all Hamites. So they were all brethren. So see, somebody had to defeat. Now the Hivites, they're gone. Because all their meals are gone. Once you wipe out the meal, you don't understand what they did. I don't think I understand what they did. They took out the Hivites. Period. There are no more Hivites.
So the men and the boys.
They killed every male, all male. Well, I think, man, last time I checked, it's been a while since I've had biology. Last time I checked, male and boy were 17. Long time since I've had biology.
So it was no one to produce, so there was no seed left to.
Strike one.
Wait, what she say?
No, there was no seed for the Hivites to produce. You gotta understand what they did.
So they
We're gonna go a little deeper in 3 weeks. Let's read Genesis 34. I'm sorry, were you saying something?
You said there was no more.
Hivites.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because Simeon and Levi decided to take them all out. No more Hivites.
Do you think they realized what they were doing when they
They
did
didn't care what they were doing. They wanted revenge for their sister.
Right, so they didn't realize.
They didn't realize they just it made extinct the Hivites.
Yeah.
But the Canaanites did come to Jacob. We're going to see that too. Let's go Genesis 34. Before we get there, Genesis 34, 26 to 30.
Genesis chapter 34, verse 26. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and they spoiled even all that was in the house.
Simeon and Levi. Only 2 of them.
Oh.
30.
And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land.
What? What, Jacob? What is Jacob talking about? Wait, I thought he'd be happy. No, Jacob was very upset.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Keep going.
Among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I, being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house.
So Jacob had a legit argument because now we have to, you done took out the Hivites, so now I have to deal with Canaanites and Perizzites. And they're going to come because guess what? It's only 12 of us. 11 really. If you want to count Joseph. Joseph was pretty young at this time. So it's only us. So why did you go and do such a thing? But Jacob, with all those years, did not understand the power of the Most High. Because, here come the Canaanites. Let's go Joshua 35.
Well, my thing is that was a 2-year span. So after he raped her, he just kept her in his house for 2 years.
Right.
How you know?
But see, Levi and Simeon were thinking, they were plotting these 2 years. They weren't just sitting idly by. Right? So Jacob is about 99 right now. And here come the Canaanites. Let's see what happened. Joshua 35, verse 1 through 15. Remember, Jacob said they're going to come and they're going to destroy us. Let's see what happened. Let's read.
Joshua chapter 35, verse 1. And all the kings of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field to consult with their counselors what was to be done with the sons of Jacob. For they were still afraid of them, saying, Behold, 2 of them slew the whole of the city of Shechem.
2 of them slew the whole city. Right? Verse 2.
And the Lord heard the prayers of Isaac and Jacob, and he filled the hearts of all these kings' advisors with great fear and terror, that they unanimously exclaimed.
Listen to what they're saying. Verse 3.
Are you silly this day? Or is there no understanding in you, that you will fight with the Hebrews? And why will you take a delight in your own destruction this day?
See that? These kings, they're talking to each other, and they're like, wait a minute now, we don't want to go against these Hebrews. Verse 4.
Behold, 2 of them came to the city of Shechem without fear or terror, and they killed all the inhabitants of the city, that no man stood up against them. And how will you be able to fight with them all?
See that? But they didn't know that these men were circumcised first. If they would have known that these men were circumcised, they probably would have had a different tune. But they did not know that these men were circumcised first, and then Levi and Simeon came. They just believed that Levi and Simeon wiped out an entire city by themselves. Verse 5.
Surely you know that their power is exceedingly fond of them, and has done mighty things for them, such as have not been done from the days of old. And amongst all the gods of nations, there is none can do like unto his mighty deeds. Surely he delivered their father Abraham, the Hebrew, from the hand of Nimrod.
They remember that. Keep going.
And from the hand of all his people, who had many times sought to slay him. He delivered him also from the fire in which King Nimrod had cast him.
Remember that? Keep going.
And his power delivered him from it. And who else can do the like? Surely it was Abraham who slew the 5 kings of Elam, when they had touched his brother's son, who in those days dwelt in Sodom.
So let me tell you something, man. Always keep your integrity, because it gets around. Abraham kept his integrity, getting escaped from the furnace. Everybody knew who Nimrod was. The 5 kings. Abraham they were slew, killed. Okay? Verse 9.
And took his servant that was faithful in his house, and a few of his men, and they pursued the kings of Elam in one night, and killed them, and restored to his brother's son all his property which they had taken from him. And surely you know the power of these Hebrews is much delighted with them, and they are also delighted with him, for they know that he delivered them from all their enemies.
He said that you know what? The God of the Hebrews, he loves them and they love him. So they'll destroy us. Keep going.
And behold, through his love toward his power, Abraham took his only and precious son and intended to bring him up as a burnt offering to his power. And had it not been for the Most High who prevented him from doing this, he would then have done it through his love to his power.
See all of this stuff these Canaanite kings are talking about. Verse 12.
And the Most High saw all his works, and swore unto him, and promised him that he would deliver his sons and all his seed from every trouble that would befall them, because he had done this thing, and through his love to his power, stifled his compassion for his child.
Are we starting to understand why Esau hates Jacob so much now? Are we starting to understand why Esau hates Jacob so much? Listen to everything that's going on. Keep going.
And have you not heard what their power did to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to Abimelech, king of Gerar, through taking Abraham's wife, who said of her, she is my sister, lest they might slay him on account of her, and think of taking her for a wife? And the Most High did unto them and their people all that you heard of. And verse 14, and behold, we ourselves saw with our eyes that Esau, the brother of Jacob, came to him with 400 men, with the intention of slaying him, for he called to mind that he had taken away from him his father's blessing. And he went to meet him when he came from Syria, to smite the mother with the children, and who delivered him from his hands, but his power in whom he trusted. He delivered him from the hand of his brother, and also from the hands of his enemies. And surely he again will protect him.
All right. So we just read on why Esau hates Jacob so much. Because all that is what Esau wants. There's more though.
You know, I was reading in First Chronicles as well, that King David took out Edom as well.
Correct.
A lot of people have a history of taking out
Correct.
Esau.
So when we get to Israel, I think the teacher is going to be named Israel Housing or something like that. When we do our awakening on David and Solomon, because that's the pinnacle of Israel. And we're going to see some things there also. All right, 99 years old, Jacob goes back to Bethel, and he lives there for a couple of months. Let's go to Genesis 35, 1 through 6. Genesis 35, verses 1 through 6. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 35, verse 1. And the Most High said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto your power, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise, and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto your power, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went.
Verse 4.
And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem.
All right, so these people were from Shechem. These were the women. Remember when Levi and Simeon took everybody? That's who Jacob is talking to right now. It's not no one that was in Jacob's camp. These are the people, these are the captives that he got from Simeon and Levi. So that's who he's talking to right now. Verse 5.
And they journeyed, and the terror of the Most High was upon the cities that were round about them. And they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. All
right, so in verse 5, it talks about how they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. We just read that in Jasher on why they did not pursue it. So the Bible mentions it, Jasher explains it. Okay? So that's why they did not pursue them, because they knew the history of the Hebrews. It's a shame that Hebrews don't know the history of Hebrews. That's why we're doing these lessons. 100 years old, Jacob is named Israel. Rachel then gives birth. Jasher 36 and 8. Jasher 36 and 8. All right, let's read.
Jasher chapter 36, verse 8. And Jacob was 100 years old when the Lord appeared unto him, and blessed him, and called his name Israel. And Rachel, the wife of Jacob, conceived in those days.
Rachel, the wife of Jacob, conceived. Let's get down to verse 11. Because Jacob was 100 years old when Rachel dies. Rachel was 45 when Benjamin was born. Let's read Joshua 36 and 11.
Joshua chapter 36, verse 11. And Jacob buried her in the way of Ephraim, which is Bethlehem. And he set a pillar upon her grave, which is there unto this day. And the days of Rachel were 45 years, and she died. 45 years old when Rachel died. She was giving childbirth to Benjamin. Okay? Let's go to Genesis 35, verses 16 and 18. Okay? So let's read that. Genesis chapter 35, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephraim. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, when she was in the hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni. But his father called him Benjamin.
And I forgot what Benoni means, but I think it's sorrowful or something. But Jacob was like, no, we're not gonna label him with that spirit. We're gonna call him Benjamin. Okay? So Rachel dies, she's 45. Then Leah dies very shortly after this. So Jacob, let's see. Jacob is 101. And Jacob goes, and his sons go to Hebron. And at 101, Jacob and his sons go to Hebron. Let's see that in Jasher 36:19. And we're going to be in Jasher for a little bit. Jasher 36 and 19. Okay, let's read that.
Jasher chapter 36, verse 19. And Jacob and his sons, and all belonging to him, journeyed and came to Mamre, which is Kirath Arba, that is in Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned, and Jacob with his sons, and all belonging to him, dwelt with his father in Hebron.
All right, so then Jacob turns 105, and Jacob and his sons decide to leave there and go back to Shechem. Don't know why, but they did.
Oh, that is what I said. Benoni means son of my sorrow.
Son of my sorrow. Okay. All right. Yeah, I knew it means something sorrow. And Jacob didn't want that spirit on Benjamin. So he said, no, we're going to just name him Benjamin. Okay. Let's go Joshua 37, verses 1 through 3. Joshua 37, 1 through 3. And let's read that.
Joshua chapter 37, verse 1. And in the 105th year of the life of Jacob, that is the 9th year of Jacob's dwelling with his children in the land of Canaan, he came from Padan Aram. And in those days Jacob journeyed with his children from Hebron, and they went and returned to the city of Shechem, they and all belonging to them, and they dwelt there. For the children of Jacob obtained good and fat pasture, land for their cattle in the city of Shechem. The city of Shechem having then been rebuilt, and there were in it about 300 men and women.
Okay, verse 3.
And Jacob and his children and all belonging to him dwelt in the part of the field which Jacob had bought from Hamor, the father of Shechem, when he came from Padan Aram, before Simeon and Levi had smitten the city.
Before Levi and Simeon smit the city. Now Jacob is 105 years old, and his 10 sons, they're all teenagers. They fight 7 cities. And we're going to learn that when we go to the 12 patriarchs.
His sons
His sons.
fought 7 cities.
7 cities. That's in Joshua 37 to 40. And when they did that, peace was all over Canaan. 10 sons.
So you ask our people to do something now, they be like, I know about that, right? Because that's the thing I say, I guess young people say now. You know about that, right? They're scared. But these young men are brave.
Right. So we're going to find out about that much more when we talk about the 12 patriarchs, the 12 tribes. Okay? Leah dies when Jacob turns 106. And Leah is 51.
And so how old was Rachel when she died?
40.
And Leah was 51.
Rachel was 45. Rachel 51.
One thing I want to point out as well is that you see how our people picked up and traveled as a family.
Right.
It was nothing for our people just to get up and to just pack their stuff up and just go. And that's one thing the devil used against our people, used against us now, that we are like connected or we hold on to stuff or to things.
Okay.
We gotta be able to just, let it go.
So, let's go Joshua 41 and verse 2. All right, let's read that.
Joshua chapter 41, verse 2. And it was in those days, in that year, being the 106th year of the life of Jacob, in the 10th year of Jacob's coming from Padan Aram, that Leah, the wife of Jacob, died. She was 51 years old when she died in Hebron.
All right, 51 years old when she died. Now, Jacob is about 106. Remember, Joseph did a coat with many collars? Joseph was about 15 years old when that event happened, when he was sold into slavery.
I always wonder what happened to was his wife, Jacob, because they never mentioned Leah or
Rachel.
So when all this happened, they were dead.
You mean when Joseph was sold into slavery?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were already gone. Okay?
Did she just cry?
Yeah, I think so. Joshua 41 and 6. Now, this is the coat. Joseph is about 15. He gets sold into slavery 2 years later. Let's read Joshua 41 and 6.
Joshua chapter 41, verse 6. And when Joseph saw the strength of his brethren and their greatness, he praised them and extolled them. But he ranked himself greater than them, and extolled himself above them. And Jacob, his father, also loved him more than any other son, for he was a son of his old age. And through his love toward him, he made him a coat of many colors.
Now, understand this. The 10 tribes, they just got to destroying 7 cities by themselves. And to have their younger brother come and say, you know what, I'm greater than you all. Come on now, 12 tribes. That drew a thorn in their side. Look at this little wimp. We just sat here and we just destroyed 7 cities, and little old Joseph is going to say he's greater than us. What's the question?
Elder, does the book of Joshua tell us how Leah died because she died very young as well?
No, the book of Joshua doesn't tell us how Leah died like it told us how Rachel died. She just died. And yes, 51 was really young at that time. So it doesn't state if she had any sickness or anything like that. The book of Jasher just says that she died. So, and when Jacob was 107, Joseph was sold into slavery. We're going to flip over to Genesis. Now remember, all this is still going on. Guess who's still alive? Isaac. Isaac is still alive at this point. Let's go Genesis 37, verses 26 to 28. This is Jacob at 107. Isaac and Rebekah are still alive at this point. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content.
That scripture right there sealed our fate.
What does Judah being a businessman?
Because at that point, the Ishmaelites would give us probably the worst slave trade. You think the transatlantic slave trade was something? Oh, wait until we learn about the Arab slave trade. That pales in comparison to what happened. And I believe we won't have that teaching until maybe February, when we talk about the different slave trades. Okay? Let's finish this up.
Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt.
All right, so all of this, Isaac is still alive, but guess what? Isaac now is past. Jacob is 120 years old, and Isaac dies. So we're going to stay in Genesis 35, and we're going to read verses 28 and 29. Isaac passes away. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 35, verse 28. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. All right. All right, 130 years old, Jacob comes to Egypt. Jacob was about 130 when he entered into Egypt. So let's go to Genesis 47, verses 8 and 9. Genesis 47, verse 8 and 9. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 47, verse 8. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, How old art thou? And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, The days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers, in the days of their pilgrimage.
Right? So then at 147, Jacob dies. Okay? Let's go to Genesis 47, 28 and 29. And then we're going to get Jasher 56, verse 1 and 2. Let's read. Oh no, I'll give you a minute. Genesis 47, 28, 29. Jasher 56, 1 and 2. All right, let's read.
Genesis chapter 47, verse 28. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole age of Jacob was 147 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the time drew nigh that Israel must die. And he called his son Joseph and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt.
Bury me not. I pray thee in Egypt. Don't bury me there, right? You already had a place. Let's go Genesis 56, verses 1 and 2. Genesis 56, verses 1 and 2.
Jasher chapter 56, verse 1. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. And the days of Jacob and the years of his life were 147 years.
Mm-hmm.
At that time Jacob was attacked with that illness of which he died. And he sent and called for his son Joseph from Egypt. And Joseph, his son, came from Egypt, and Joseph came unto his father.
All right, so Jacob died at 147. Strangely enough, Esau dies at 147. But Esau died a little differently. We're going to go Jasher 57 and verse 1. All right, Jasher 57 and 1. Esau died at 147 years old as well. Let's read.
Jasher chapter 57, verse 1. And it was after this that the sons of Esau waged war with the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Esau fought with the sons of Jacob in Hebron. And Esau was still lying dead and not buried.
All right, we're going to find out what happened to Esau, right?
He wasn't buried.
Now, part 2 of this lesson, the battle between Jacob and Esau. Okay. Jacob sent his servants to Esau, remember that, to tell him that he was returning to Canaan? And Jacob knew his brother hated him, but why would he give him that information? All right, why would he tell him that if he knew his brother hated him? Jacob, on leaving Jacob, Laban sends his son to tell Esau that Jacob returned, and that he took Laban's daughters and his children by the sword. So that's who spilled the beans to Esau. Remember I said, well, Esau said he forgot about it? Somebody reminded him, and it was Laban's son. Right? Because his money left with Jacob. So when you mess with somebody's money,
Oh, boy.
regardless who they are, they come to get you back. Let's see something really quick. Jasher 31:64. Now it's going to be like a soap opera. Wait till you hear all this stuff that's going on. Jasher 31:64. Let's read.
Jasher chapter 31, verse 64. And Esau heard all the words of Laban's messengers, and his anger was greatly kindled against Jacob, and he remembered his hatred, and his anger burned within him.
Right. All right, so Laban's messengers then go to Isaac and tell him that Rebekah and Esau were going to meet Jacob with 400 men to smite him. Rebekah then sends 72 of her servants of Isaac to Jacob to inform that Esau is coming.
Wait, what?
Oh goodness, it's just all over the place, right? Laban decides he goes to, let me keep that again. Laban messengers, after they left Esau, they went to Isaac and told him and Rebekah, that Esau was going to meet Jacob with 400 men to kill him. So then Rebekah says, oh no, he's not, and sends 72 servants from Isaac to Jacob to tell Jacob that Esau is coming. Right? Let's go Genesis 32.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Genesis 32, 1 through 4. It becomes a soap opera now. Genesis 32, verses 1 through 4. So, see, Laban is the center of all this. Who would have thought that the battle between Esau and Jacob would be caused because of Laban? Of course, because Esau forgot about all this. He couldn't care less. But see, something struck when Esau heard that Jacob took all of Laban people by the sword. It's like, oh, wait a minute. No, he didn't. Not after what he did to me. We kindled remembrance. And it was thanks to Laban. We're going to see something else too. Genesis 32, 1 through 4. Let's read it.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 1. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of the Most High met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, This is the Most High's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother into the land of Seir, the country of Egypt. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob said thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now.
I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there till now. Jacob's messengers reach Esau and tell him the story of his relationship with Laban. And let's see that. We're going to skip over to Jasher 32. Jasher 32, verses 9 through 12. Let's read.
Jasher chapter 32, verse 9. And Esau answered them with pride and contempt, and said unto them, Surely I have heard, and truly it has been told unto me, what Jacob has done to Laban, who exalted him in his house, and gave him his daughters for wives, and he begot sons and daughters, and abundantly increased in wealth, and riches in Laban's house through his means. And when he saw that his wealth was abundant, and his riches great, he fled with all belonging to him from Laban's house.
That didn't happen, but go ahead.
And he led Laban's daughters away from the face of their father, as captives taken by the sword without telling him of it.
See? Go ahead.
And not only to Laban has Jacob done thus, but also unto me has he done so, and has twice supplanted me. And shall I be silent?
See? This is what happens. What Laban, his servants lied, first of all, but that lie triggered something old in Esau. And Esau said, you know what? Jacob, he needs to die. Because not only did he do that to Laban, that evil person, but he did it to me twice. Angry. Verse 12.
Now therefore I have this day come with my camps to meet him, and I will do unto him according to the desire of my heart.
See that? I will do unto him according to the desire of my heart. See that? Oh, goodness gracious. I love knowledge. Jacob's messengers, what? Jacob's messengers returned with Esau reply. So Jacob is now distraught. He's like, wait a minute. But the Most High had to remind Jacob what he told him back in Canaan, that the Most High would deal well with him. Then Jacob spends the night wrestling with the Most High, refuses to let him go. Remember that? Broke the hip, all that other stuff. Right? Then at dawn, Jacob sees Esau coming. He bowed 7 times to Esau. Esau ran to meet him, fell in his neck, kissed him, wept, they cried and hugged him. Right? Esau seemed to have a complete change in heart towards his brother. Jacob encouraged Esau to take the animals as gifts. Esau says no, but then Jacob says, no, you take these animals. Esau then tells Jacob, hey, why don't you come live with me and eat? And Jacob tells him, we'll be there, go ahead. Then Esau returns to Edom, and all seems well. Let's go to Genesis, Jasher 32. And we're going to be reading for a minute. Jasher 32, verses 28 to 40. Let's learn something. Let's read it.
Joshua chapter 32, verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord sent 3 angels of the angels of heaven, and they went before Esau and came to him.
Did you know that 3 angels went to speak to Esau before all this happened?
No.
Let's read.
And these angels appeared unto Esau and his people as 2,000 men, riding upon horses furnished with all sorts of war instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his men to be divided into 4 camps, with 4 chiefs to them.
Something, you have to ask yourself a question. Esau hated Jacob, so why were they kissing and hugging? Something had to happen. You have to investigate and find out what happened. 30.
And one camp went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 men toward his brother Jacob. And this camp ran toward Esau and his people and terrified them. And Esau fell off the horse in alarm, and all his men separated from him in that place, for they were greatly afraid.
Verse 31.
And the whole of the camp shouted after them when they fled from Esau, and all the warlike men answered, saying, Surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of the Most High. And who then can stand against us? And Esau said unto them, O then, my Lord, the brother of Jacob is your Lord, whom I have not seen for these 20 years. And now that I have this day come to see him, do you treat me in this manner?
Verse 33.
And the angels answered him, saying, As the Lord liveth, were not Jacob, of whom thou speakest, thy brother? We had not let one remaining from thee and thy people, but only on account of Jacob we will do nothing to them. And this camp passed from Esau and his men and went away. And Esau and his men had gone from them about a league when the second camp came toward him with all sorts of weapons. And they also did unto Esau and his men as the first camp had done to them. And when they had left it to go on, behold, the third camp came toward him, and they were all terrified. And Esau fell off the horse, and the whole camp cried out and said, Surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of the Most High, and who can stand against us?
Verse 36.
And Esau again answered them, saying, O then, Jacob my Lord and your Lord is my brother. And for 20 years I have not seen his countenance, and hearing this day that he was coming, I went this day to meet him. And do you treat me in this manner?
Verse 37.
And they answered him and said unto him, As the Lord liveth, Were not Jacob thy brother, as thou didst say, we had not left a remnant for thee and thy men. But on account of Jacob, of whom thou speakest, being thy brother, we will not meddle with thee or thy men.
So have you figured out that these three camps were not men, that these three camps were camps of angels?
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And the third camp also passed from them, and he still continued his road with his men toward Jacob. When the fourth camp came toward him, and they also did unto him and his men as the others had.
Mm-hmm.
And when Esau beheld the evil which the four angels had done to him and to his men, he became greatly afraid of his brother Jacob, and he went to meet him in peace.
Sometimes all it takes is a couple of angels to get your head right. Right? So these angels were doing this to Esau's men. They weren't men, these were angels.
Wait, what were they doing to them again?
What? Wait, what? Wait, what are they doing?
Yeah. I know it said it came with weapons.
No, those were Esau who came with weapons. The angels,
I don't know
the
if it was
angels, no, the angels, it wasn't in detail, but I mean, if you're surrounded by angels and they're roaring and all that, and they're saying we're not Jacob's men, but you're gonna leave Jacob alone, I mean, that kind of like, okay. 39,
And
or no, 40, we read 39.
And Esau concealed his hatred against Jacob, because he was afraid of his life on account of his brother Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
and because he imagined that the four camps that he had lighted upon were Jacob's servants.
See? Okay. That was temporary though, because something happened with the death of Isaac. Let's go back to Genesis 35. We're going to read 28 and 29. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 35, verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
And the days of Isaac were 180 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac gave up the ghost, and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
So there was a double portion. If so, who got it? Going back to Isaac on his deathbed, he blesses Jacob and the children. Right? Let's read Joshua 47 and 6. Isaac, not only remember he did bless Esau, right? But he also blesses the sons of Esau. Let's see what Isaac said about the sons of Esau. This is going to trigger some stuff. Joshua 47 and 6. Let's read.
Joshua chapter 47, verse 6. And Isaac also blessed the sons of Esau, saying,
Listen to this.
May the Most High cause you to be a dread and a terror to all that will behold you, and to all your enemies.
See that? Let's skip down to verse 15, and we're going to read verses 15 to 25.
Joshua chapter 47, verse 15.
Go ahead.
And at the death of Isaac, he left his cattle and his possessions, and all belonging to him to his sons. And Esau said unto Jacob, Behold, I pray thee, all that our father has left we will divide it in two parts, and I will have the choice. And Jacob said, We will do so.
Okay, they came to an agreement now. This is the inheritance, remember? Verse 16.
And Jacob took all that Isaac had left in the land of Canaan, the cattle and the property, And he placed them in 2 parts before Esau and his sons. And he said unto Esau, Behold, all this is before thee. Choose thou unto thyself the half which thou wilt take. And Jacob said unto Esau, Hear thou, I pray thee, what I will speak unto thee, saying, The Lord power of heaven and earth spoke unto our fathers Abraham and Isaac, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever.
Verse 18.
Now therefore, all that our father has left is before thee. And behold, all the land is before thee. Choose thou from them what thou desirest.
This seems pretty good. Jacob and Esau coming together. Verse 19.
If thou desirest the whole land, take it for thee and thy children forever. And I will take this riches. And if thou desirest the riches, take it unto thee. And I will take this land for me and for my children to inherit it forever.
Here comes somebody. Verse 20.
And Nebaioth, the son of Ishmael, was then in the land with his children. And Esau went on that day, consulted with him, saying, Thus hath Jacob spoken unto me, and thus has he answered me. Now give thy advice, and we will hear. And Nebaioth said, What is this that Jacob hath spoken unto thee? Behold, all the children of Canaan are dwelling securely in their land. And Jacob said, He will inherit it with his seed all the days. Go now therefore, and take all thy father's riches, and leave Jacob thy brother in the land, as he has spoken.
Verse 24.
And Esau rose up and returned to Jacob and did all that Nebaioth, the son of Ishmael, had advised. And Esau took all the riches that Isaac had left, the souls, the beasts, the cattle, and the property.
And what did he leave for Jacob?
And all the riches. He gave nothing to his brother Jacob.
Keep going.
And Jacob took all the land of Canaan, from the brook of Egypt unto the river Euphrates. And he took it for an everlasting possession, and for his children and for his seed after him forever.
Verse 25.
And Jacob also took from his brother Esau the cave of Machpelah, which is in Hebron, which Abraham had bought from Ephron for possession of a burial place for him and his seed forever.
All right, so we read about the death of Jacob, right? We talked about that for a little bit. Joseph was taking his body, his embalmed body, to the cave at Machpelah. Remember, that's what Jacob owned, to be buried when he went with his brothers in the army of Egypt. Remember that whole progression? And they were saying, oh, look, the Egyptians are very sorrowful. This person is mourning. They're mourning this very high person. Nothing interesting happens into the trip to Canaan, according to the Bible. Something happened in the book of Jasher, because Jasher tells a different story on this whole progression, right? Let's go to Jasher 56. Jasher 56, and we're going to read 2 verses. Verse 50 is the first one. Jasher 56 and 50. Okay? Let's read that.
Jasher chapter 56, verse 50. And they came unto Kiriath Arba to the cave. And as they came, Esau stood with his sons against Joseph and his brother as a hindrance in the cave.
They were blocking the cave. Go ahead.
Saying, Jacob shall not be buried therein, for it belongeth to us and to our father.
Here comes the start of it. Now let's skip down, stay in Jasher 56, and read verse 64.
Jasher chapter 56, verse 64. And he asked, saying, Why do you not bury the dead? And what is this great consternation? And they answered him the words of Esau and his sons. And he ran to Esau in the midst of the battle, and he slew Esau with the sword, and cut off his head, and it sprang to a distance, and Esau fell amongst the people of the battle.
Let's go up to verse 63. Read verse 63.
Oh, wow.
Jasher chapter 56, verse 63. And Cushan was dumb and deaf, Still he understood the voice of consternation amongst men. And he asked, saying, Why do you not bury the dead? And what is this great consternation? And they answered him the words of Esau and his sons. And he ran to Esau in the midst of the battle, and he slew Esau with the sword, and he cut off his head, and it sprang to a distance, and Esau fell amongst the people of the battle.
Who's Cushan? Dan's son.
Oh, that explains it.
Read verse 62.
Joshua chapter 56, verse 62. And Cushan, the son of Dan, the son of Jacob, was at that time with Jacob's sons, but he was about 100 cubits distance from the place of the battle. For he remained with the children of Jacob's sons by Jacob's beard to guard him.
So Jacob's grandson beheads Esau.
Wow.
And he's Dan's son, basically, right? The war between Jacob and Esau. Let's start to wrap this up a little bit. First of all, let's get an understanding of the elders shall serve the younger. So we're going to go back to Jasher. No, I'm not. We're going to go back to Genesis 25, and we're going to read verses 23 and 26. A few more scriptures, and then we're done. Genesis 25, 23 to 26.
I don't think God ever knew how Esau died.
Yes, we know that.
Yeah, we know that.
Not only was he beheaded, but his head just was rolling and bouncing like a ball.
Now we know why they ordered all those guillotines for it.
Correct.
Now we know why. Okay.
Let's read.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Verse 24.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him.
Let's go to 2nd Ezra.
What we're not understanding is this, because when a woman has twins, they come out one by one. Now, how did Jacob come out holding Esau's heel? So they just all came out together? Really?
Let's go 2nd Ezra chapter 6. And let's read verses 7 to 9. And then we'll get into the sons of Esau of their anger.
No, that's right.
And then this will lead us to our next Hebrew Israelite teaching on who is Esau Edom. 2nd Ezra 6, 7 through 9. Okay, 2nd Ezra, if you don't know, for those who are new, it's in the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha is a group of books that the Roman Catholic Church decided that they were not scriptural or canon enough. But if you understand what's in the Apocrypha, it's a wealth of information, just like Jasher is a wealth of information. Let's read.
2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 7. Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the time? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Now we understand what that scripture means. Let's talk about Esau and let's talk about the sons of Esau. Let's talk about their anger. We're going to be in Joshua 51. And you can actually close the Bible because we're done with the Bible for today. And we're going to go through Jasher, the 57th chapter. If I said 51 earlier, I apologize. Jasher 57, we're going to read verses 1 through 7.
Somebody said that the volume is low, that it's going in and out.
Okay.
Do you really think so?
Let's read. Jasher 57 and 1.
Jasher chapter 57, verse 1. And it was after this that the sons of Esau waged war with the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Esau fought with the sons of Jacob in Hebron. And Esau was still lying dead and not buried.
So Esau was laying there as the sons of Esau fighting the sons of Jacob. Esau was laying there beheaded. Verse 2.
And the battle was heavy between them. And the sons of Esau were smitten before the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob slew the sons of Esau 80 men. And not one died of the people of the sons of Jacob. And the hand of Joseph prevailed over all the people of the sons of Esau. And he took Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and 50 of his men captive. And he bound them with chains of iron, and gave them into the hand of his servants to bring them to Egypt.
All right, so that kind of tells that that they don't know their history, because remember when they told Yeshua, we were not sold to no man as slaves. Oops, they didn't remember this part. Verse 3.
And it came to pass when the sons of Jacob had taken Zepho and his people captive, all those that remained were greatly afraid of their lives from the house of Esau, lest they should also be taken captive. And they all fled with Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and his people, with Esau's body, and they went on their road to Mount Seir.
All right, this is the start of Mount Seir. Now, something happened with Mount Seir, right? Let's read verse 4. We're going through to verse 7.
And they came unto Mount Seir, and they buried Esau in Seir. But they had not brought his head with them to Seir, for it was buried in that place where the battle had been in Hebron.
That's pretty bad. His head was one place and his body was another. Verse 5.
And it came to pass when the sons of Esau had fled from before the sons of Jacob, the sons of Jacob pursued them unto the borders of Seir. But they did not slay a single man from amongst them when they pursued them. For Esau's body, which they carried with them, excited their confusion. So they fled, and the sons of Jacob turned back from them, and came up to the place where their brethren were in Hebron, and they remained there on that day, and on the next day until they rested from the battle.
All right, this is the battle between Jacob, the sons of Jacob, and the sons of Esau, but somebody else is about to interject. Keep going.
And it came to pass on the third day, they assembled all the sons of Seir, the Horite, and they assembled all the children of the east, a multitude of people like the sand of the sea. And they went and came down to Egypt to fight with Joseph and his brethren in order to deliver their brethren.
So the sons of Seir and the children of the east, India, whatever the case may be, came, the Hamites, they came to aid Joseph in the fight against the sons of Esau. Verse 7.
And Joseph and all the sons of Jacob heard that the sons of Esau and the children of the east had come upon them to battle in order to deliver their brethren.
Okay. Next verse, I'm sorry. Let's skip down to verse 10. And we're going to read verses 10 through 14.
Jasher chapter 57, verse 10. And Joseph and his brethren pursued them until they came unto Succoth. And they yet slew of them in Succoth 30 men. And the rest escaped, and they fled east to his city. And Joseph and his brethren and the mighty men of Egypt turned back from them with joy and cheerfulness of heart. for they had smitten all their enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And Zepho the son of Eliphaz and his men were still slaves in Egypt to the sons of Jacob, and their pains increased.
Mm-hmm.
And when the sons of Esau and the sons of Seir returned to their land,
Mm-hmm.
the sons of Seir saw that they had all fallen into the hands of the sons of Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
the people of Egypt, on account of the battle of the sons of Esau.
So the sons of Seir looking at the sons of Esau saying, you know what? Wait a minute. You cost us. Verse 14.
And the sons of Seir had said unto the sons of Esau, You have seen, and therefore you know that this camp was on your account, and not one mighty man or an adept in war remained.
Right, so the sons of Seir now looking at Esau like, wait a minute. You caused this against us.
Who's the son of Seir?
The sons of Seir, the Horites.
Now, Seir.
Let's skip over to 16, and let's read verses 16 to 19. Sons of Seir, they were Horites. All right, let's read.
Joshua chapter 57, verse 16. And the children of Esau would not listen to the children of Seir. And the children of Seir considered to make war with them. And the children of Esau sent secretly to Angeas, and Angeas, king of Africa, the same is Dinhaba, saying, Send unto us some of thy men, and let them come unto us, and we will fight together with the children of Seir the Horite. For they have resolved to fight with us, to drive us away from the land.
And we all know Horites were Hamites. Verse 19.
And Angeas, king of Dinhaba, did so, for he was in those days friendly to the children of Esau. And Angeas sent 500 valiant infantry to the children of Esau and 800 cavalry.
All right, so now this king of Africa is sending troops to the children of Esau. Let's get down to verse 39 and read 39 and 42, and that's our last verse for today.
Joshua chapter 57, verse 39. And all the children of Esau swore, saying that none of their brethren should ever reign over them, but a strange man who was not of their brethren. For the souls of all the children of Esau were embittered, every man against his son, brother and friend, on account of the evil they had sustained from their brethren when they fought with the children of Seir. Therefore the sons of Esau swore, saying, From that day forward they would not choose a king from their brethren, but one from a strange land unto this day.
That's backwards, but okay, go ahead.
And there was a man there from the people of Angeas, king of Dinhaba. His name was Bela, the son of Beor, who was a very valiant man, beautiful and comely and wise in all wisdom, and a man of sense and counsel. And there was none of the people of Angeas like unto him. Verse 42. And all the children of Esau took him and anointed him, and they crowned him for a king. And they bowed down to him, and they said unto him, May the king live, may the king live.
All right. So in Esau, the hatred, anger, pride was so badly infected with him that spiritual gangrene set in. Hatred is like a cancer to the soul. And the hatred and anger of Esau finally destroyed him. Next week we're going to have the Feast of Dedication. We're going to step aside from our Hebrew Israelite lessons, and we're going to do the lesson on the Feast of Dedication. In 2 weeks, our Hebrew Israelite lesson is going to be who is Esau Edom. And we got some information for you there. Our Friday night lesson is going to be your own conduct. Friday night, yesterday was a appetizer to what we're going to learn next week. Okay? With that being said, we want to open it up for questions. We want to open the chat up. If you have any questions, go ahead and place them in the chat. Those questions that were placed in the chat previously, we will answer those now.
Okay, someone says, what tribe were the 12 disciples from?
12 disciples were from Judah or Benjamin. Next question. Remember, the 10 tribes were already gone.
Yeah.
There was a remnant of Simeon still there. Okay? But for the most part, the 12 tribes the 10 tribes, the northerners, were already gone. So that left Benjamin, some of Levi, and Judah.
Elder, it's at this time when man life expectancy is shorter because they're starting to die under 200 years old.
Right. That happened, I believe, like after Eber and that group died. Abraham and Joseph and Jacob, Esau was beheaded. But they started to die about 170, 140. And the lifespan of man started to shrink and shrink because of sin.
Okay.
That's
Someone
right.
says Genesis 32 and 2.
Genesis 32 and 2.
Mahanaim means double camp, the Lord camp. They're the ones who encountered Esau and Jasher. 32.
Okay, we didn't go over Genesis 32. But, what? That doesn't make sense.
We were actually talking about it at that time.
Okay.
So if someone says, Elder, are anchovies and sardines clean?
Yes.
I see some kosher websites who say they are clean, but who knows? Those websites are ran by fake Jews.
They are clean. They have skin, they have fins, and they have scales.
Anchovies,
Anchovies are fish.
they have,
Fins. I keep mixing that. They have fins and they have scales.
what you saying?
Google. No, I was going to say skin. Google anchovy. See what it looks like. Go to Google Images and pull up an anchovy. And let's show the people what an anchovy looks like.
Yeah, right?
They look like they're cutting up girl.
They look like schmelts.
Is that what that guy was cooking?
This is an anchovy right here.
When people put that on pizza,
Yeah.
fish pizza.
Yep. Anchovies are clean. What was the other one?
Sardines?
Sardines are clean. Okay, they have skin, they have fins, and they have scales. So anchovies are clean. They grind them up, and then they put it on pizza, which is disgusting. But you know what? That's my taste. Maybe your taste, you love anchovies on pizza. Next question.
This one here is here. Elder is Jerusalem.
Is Jerusalem synonymous with Egypt? You would have to explain your question.
Oh, because it said, because Egypt is the house of bondage.
Okay.
And Galatians 4:25 calls Jerusalem bondage too.
Let's read Galatians 4:25.
You know, I see people asking for anchovies on their pizza, but I quite didn't know. You know, it's kind of like I grew up hearing or seeing my family eating pigtails, but it really didn't register to me that it was actual tails of a pig. You know what I mean? Until I got older, and I'm like, that's disgusting. Or pig ears.
Yeah, it was curled and all that.
So you sitting up here, you eating a pig ear sandwich, but you're young, you don't know because your family doing it, But when you get older, it's actually an ear of a pig. You're like, ew, no,
Right.
that's not good.
So let's get an understanding of Galatians 4 and 25. Let's read that, read it kind of slow.
Galatians chapter 4, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children.
Mm-hmm. So is that saying, but read verse 26.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
See that? Jerusalem is free. Read verse 24.
Galatians chapter 4, verse 24. Which things are an allegory. For these are the two covenants. The one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Agar.
All right, so Jerusalem is free.
Oh.
Okay.
So someone says sardines like scales on their heads. Can you still eat them?
I'm sorry.
Sardines does not have scales on their head. I guess they have it on the body. Well, fish don't have scales on their
Fish
head.
doesn't have scales on the head. If you have a fish that has a scale on his head, then you don't want to eat it. No fish has scales on the head. They all have scales on the body.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Okay. And so it says, Elder, I told my wife that they're clean fish, but she keep implying that I asked you. Tell this woman to listen to her man. LOL, sorry, Elder.
No, you gotta listen to your man. You have to listen to your man.
Someone said I did a pretty deep investigation, and my conclusion is that sardines and anchovies are clean to eat.
Why are we doing we're doing deep lessons and teachers on sardines and anchovies.
Investigation.
We're investigating this stuff. I guess that's good because we investigate things in the Bible. So yeah, after much conclusion and after much investigation, going to the actual store and looking at the anchovy and the sardine, we have come to the determination that these fish are clean to eat.
Well, we saw this guy, I don't know what the fish were, it was this Yaphet guy, remember? And he had all this fish, and
Oh
he
yeah,
cleaned them in
I think those are
coconut
anchovies.
milk and turmeric, and then he put them in all this, he made some kind of tomatoes,
Yeah,
and he made this soup out of it, and then he pulled it up with rice.
right. I think those are anchovies.
And the chef was like, I'll be having a sandwich that day. But it looked nasty when he was cooking it,
Right,
but in the end, it looked like it would be pretty good.
right. It was healthy, that's for
But
sure.
let me tell you, these fish are so small, so there was no cutting and gutting these fish.
No.
So it was
they
cooked
can-
with the inside, everything.
And that's how you eat shrimp. Has anybody ever had shrimps?
No, my
No,
grandmother used to
really.
cook them for shepherd all the time.
Oh, no, I haven't really. Schmelts are about this, a nice one is about that big. You fry them, you of course cut off the head. Then you fry them and you eat them whole.
Now, I didn't notice, someone says, I do that biblical, it's because I like Caesar salad and the dressing has anchovies in it.
Okay, you're good. It's clean.
Just want to know for sure because I put that in my temple. Okay, but I love Caesar salad too, and I didn't know they had anchovies in it.
Well,
It didn't taste like it.
no, Caesar salad. If you want to put anchovies on your Caesar salad, you're more than welcome. I won't be doing it because I've had anchovies on pizza before and it wasn't that tasty.
You know, I have an auntie that she tries to cook everything, Auntie Barbara.
Oh, Lord.
And so my grandmother had,
The key word is try.
yeah, she barbecued one day, right? And I'm thinking it up, and I'm thinking of barbecue meat. she had actually barbecued some fish and put barbecue sauce on it. And I thought I was gonna die. That was the nastiest. And how she cooked is that when, like if she's barbecuing and the flame goes out, instead of her taking the meat off the grill,
She goes like,
the lighter fluid.
lighter fluid on the meat.
So your meat tastes like lighter.
She knows lighter fluid on the meat. She's like,
I was so sick. I was like, never. I was sick for about a week.
yeah, she can't cook.
It was that bad because of the fish and the lighter fluid. And then I remember one time when they put some dressing in a blender. So it was like soup. And they tried to give Jeffrey, they gave it to him to eat.
I wasn't eating that.
And then he picked it up with the spoon. It was like soup. I was like, oh no, it was bad.
Right.
Yeah, they do something, yeah, they clearly didn't learn how to cook. So my grandma really
Of course, no, they didn't.
it's pretty bad.
Next question.
Oh, let's see here. It's an ingredient of dressing, so all praises, we edify each other. Someone said R. Oh, Agadai is still around.
That, I don't know if the Agathites are still around. In fact, you know what? Wait a minute. I don't
They
think,
are.
I think they are.
The Agadites are the Amalekites.
They're Amalekites.
So, okay, so let's go back to the book of Esther. That's how we're going to figure this out. Okay, everybody online, we're going to figure this out. So, Haman, the one that
I'll step
was...
aside.
No, I said everybody. So Haman, let's talk about this. Let's figure it out. So Haman was the one he came from the lineage of, who was that Samuel, Saul was supposed to kill everybody?
Amalekites.
The Amalekites. So Haman from the book of Esther is a Amalekite. But also, I believe in the book of Esther, wasn't they referred to as the Agadites as well?
You know, I think, it was Agadites that Saul was supposed to destroy.
Oh, so who are they then?
I don't know.
No, we have read a book or something and we found out that
Yeah, you know what, they
They
were
were
the
the-
Amalekites.
they were the Amalekites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were the Amalekites.
Yeah. So yeah, they're still around.
I don't know who they are. Maybe during these Israelite awakenings, we'll find out who they are. Kind of doubt it, because I don't think we're going down that path. But I don't know who they are today.
Someone says Elder Bud, Galatians 4:26 says, Jerusalem which is above is free, not the Jerusalem on earth, right?
Oh, let's go back to Galatians 4.
4:26. Look, and Dad Issachar says, Elder, my wife doesn't make me salads with real anchovies in it. It's dressing flavored anchovies.
Oh.
I'm not
okay.
that wild man like Esau, LOL.
Oh, okay, I thought it was like real anchovies that you put on Caesar salad.
No,
You know, to each his own.
flavor. If it's flavor, there's no telling
That's
what
some
that
real
is.
flavor.
Yeah, what's that?
That's some real flavor, like salty. All right, so let's get a Strong's Concordance. You got one? Strong's Concordance. And let's look at Galatians 4:26. Egypt is not like, when it talks about Jerusalem, Jerusalem is not like the house of bondage like Egypt was. Jerusalem. What does that say for the Strong's Concordance? I know what it says, but
T
just read it.
24:19. Do notice neither the city itself or the inhabitants, the Jerusalem that now is, the present release
Did you hear that? The Jerusalem of the heavens in which the Jerusalem of earth was supposed to be built. The Jerusalem on earth was supposed to be built in pattern up like the Jerusalem in heaven. Just like the earthly tabernacle was supposed to mimic the heavenly tabernacle. The city of Jerusalem was supposed to mimic the New Jerusalem. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but Jerusalem is not the house of bondage.
No.
Okay? Yes?
In verse 25, it's saying that Jerusalem is in bondage,
Right.
not bondage, not bondage, you know.
Jerusalem is not the house of bondage, but Jerusalem, like the
Is
people
in bondage.
Yeah.
Right. You're Jerusalem. If you're one of the 12 tribes, you're Jerusalem. You're in bondage right now. And so that's what the scripture is saying. That's why I wanted to read 25, and I wanted to read 24 and 26, so that we can get a full understanding.
Okay,
Yes.
someone says, right, it's the same, Numbers 425 is a compound.
Numbers 425 is a compound predicate. No, Galatians 425 is a compound predicate. No, it's not.
Oh, is it?
It's saying that, well, yeah, it would be a kind of a compound predicate, but it's stating that the children of Israel, the children of Jerusalem are in bondage still. It's still saying the same thing.
And someone says, Elder, I'm improving my library. Is there any way you could list some books that I should have? And that no matter what the cost, knowledge is truly powerful to me.
Okay. It's pretty loud. Yes, as far as books,
Besides the King James Bible, the Apocrypha,
the book of Jasher, be mindful of it, the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees,
Babylon to how you say it?
yeah, Babylon to Timbuktu, no,
The two
the two
Babylon.
Babylons, from Babylon to Timbuktu, yes, Hebrewisms of West Africa. To do this, send an email to get to thewilderness1@gmail.com, and we'll send you a list of books that you can use to edify yourself, okay, for your self-study.
Someone says, what's a compound predicate?
Go to English.com. Next question?
That is the question. Let's go there. Let's
For
see
real?
what's a, yeah. Let's go to see what's a compound predicate.
Who asked that question? No, don't call him out.
Kazarius, Israel.
I'll figure with you later.
Yeah, he's one on the chat that he started stuff.
Have we talked about blocking him? What is a compound predicate?
Now who's really going here? Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna put it on the example board.
Really?
Really good.
I was just asking what's a compound predicate?
Someone said.
Because I don't wanna explain it incorrectly.
Yeah, let's just get it. I am the vine. So it's a compound predicate example, like if I say that ice cream and is in a sweet shop, that the ice cream
Yes,
is
it's
both
something
a
like
sweet
that.
shop and also in a sweet shop.
I don't know if that's my experience. A compound predicate is a predicted, is a, what? Predicate containing two or more coordinate or particular verbs, such as Jan jumped on her bike, Jan rode around the block. Jan jumped on her bike and rode around the block. The compound predicate is jumped on her bike and rode around the block. A pepperoni pizza would satisfy his hunger. That's not true, that's unclean.
Oh my goodness.
A compound
But
predicate.
that's what a compound predicate is.
Two verbs
Two
combined
verbs
together
combined.
by a compound. Yeah.
Oh, look at this college student over here. Too bad they teaching her wrong about her history.
Two verbs connected by a conjunction.
Right.
We got that A in English, right? Okay.
What we got?
That's it. That just took a whole new other turn.
Alright.
This author's area is Israel. We will have to have a side conversation about that brother. That author.
We may have to think about, blocking him or something. It caused too much problem. Alright. So with that being said, I pray that you got some, I pray that there's an understanding as far as Jacob and Esau now. A lot of things that you probably didn't know.
So therefore, Galatians 4:25 says Jerusalem is bondage, but also
Jerusalem is in bondage.
but also
Simultaneously in bondage with her children as well. You're correct.
Are you an English teacher, Andrea? Are you in college taking an English class?
All right, so with that being said, if there's no questions as far as the teaching or as far as the Bible, okay, we're going to hold before we end. It is now sundown where we're at. And we're going to end our service with Psalms 1, 1, 3. Of course, we can't street preach, yes.
Someone says, Elder, will you do a video or do you already have one on why Hanukkah is wicked? I have knowledge on Hanukkah, but the spirit to me is folliness.
Folliness. We're going to talk about that next week with dedication. Because a lot of the Jewish people, they do Hanukkah at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do Hanukkah. We're going to discuss what Hanukkah really is. Okay? All right. So, we're going to end our service with Psalms chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. After the shofar. walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. I want to thank you all for joining us on this Shabbat. I want to pray that you have a blessed rest of it. It's sundown now where we're at. And we'll see you next week, Friday, with the start of the Feast of Dedication.
And if you have enjoyed this lesson and have found it educational, please like and subscribe to the channel to get future teachings.
Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.